I'm Dorothy Buchanan Wilson, International President, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Welcome to Conversations.
Love, love.
As we continue to focus on sorors along the Alpha Kappa Alpha service continuum, I wanted to reach out to a recent college graduate who has now successfully transitioned into a graduate chapter. And so we have with us on this episode of Conversations, soror Arielle Ashley Thompson, a recent graduate who is now in Lambda Mu Omega chapter. And she graduated from Delta Beta chapter, which is located in the Central Region. Soror Arielle, welcome to Conversations.
Thanks for having me, Madam Supreme.
Thank you. How has it been in terms of transitioning straight out of undergraduate into a graduate chapter, and what has been your experience so far?
Of course, it was a little difficult leaving behind friends, sorors from undergraduate, but going into Lambda Mu Omega was very easy. They made it easy for me by welcoming me and just being willing to nurture me and give me all of the advice that I needed and make it an easy transition for me. And I'm very appreciative to one soror, Cantina Kellum. She's kind of like a mentor for me, so she stays on top of me, making sure that I have all of the information that I need, and I am involved and I have all of the knowledge that I need to go forth.
As you know now from being in a graduate chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha's membership spans many generations of sorors, and I would imagine that you're one of the youngest in your chapter, so how was that experience?
It's refreshing. It's a wonderful experience. I am often the youngest, but I use that time as a time to talk with sorors that have been in the organization longer than I have, to gain all that I can. It's a lot of stories that they have based on their experiences that I can use to grow within our organization. So I definitely use that wisdom and that knowledge to help me grow.
Soror Arielle, one of the things that I've been most impressed about is the fact that you are a recent initiate into the organization, but more importantly, when we discovered you, you were at a cluster meeting. So certainly you take your sorority membership very seriously. So talk a little bit about your decisions around making sure that you were involved at every level coming into the organization.
Right. One of the things that I wanted to do before I graduated, I wanted to plan ahead. So I did reach out to Soror Cantina to make sure that I was still involved, make sure that I did transition directly into a graduate chapter, because I know that it's so easy to allow time to get away from you, to fall into being inactive, or I didn't want to end up where I just grew comfortable with how far I came, because I always tell myself the sky's the limit as to where you can go, especially within our organization. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I stayed aware so that I could do everything that I needed to do to give back and to be a part of service within our organization.
We certainly appreciate that. You're a teacher, and as you know, education is a big part of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority from the very beginning. We've been very much deeply immersed in education. Educational enrichment is our #1 target for the next 4 years. So talk about, how did you decide to be a teacher and what led you to that profession?
We have a lot of educators in our family, principals, teachers, counselors. So it was an easy decision. I've always been in schools helping, doing bulletin boards, tutoring, grading papers at home for extra money when I was younger. So it was an easy decision. In my church, I was a mentor in high school. So I've always been passionate about youth. Even as a youth myself, I was passionate about others and what I can do to help. So when I got to college, it was an easy decision to just go into education.
Soror Arielle, what advice would you give to young professionals like yourself who are trying to balance start of a career? I understand you're a young parent, as well as certainly sorority involvement. So talk a little about what advice would you give our young sorors?
I would definitely encourage them to always plan ahead. It's so important to prepare for not just the now, but your future. So that's one thing that I did before I graduated. I thought about long term. I wasn't just thinking short term. What do I need to do to prepare myself for after graduation? Being organized is very important as well. And when you're passionate about what you do, when you're passionate about your choices and you love it, then it'll come easy. You know, time won't be an option. I mean, a worry. Rest. You won't worry about rest because you'll be passionate about what you do. But it's definitely important to plan ahead and make sure that you're organized.
Right. And certainly being a parent of a young son, is my understanding,
Yes.
that certainly keeps you focused as well.
Mm-hmm.
So want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had my son before the start of my junior year, and I always get emotional when I think about being in college and being a single parent because it was very, very, very challenging, but I made it. I made it, I graduated. It's always look at him, he expects so much of me. Even subconsciously, he has these expectations. He sees me as Superwoman. And I look at him and I always think that I have no other choice. I have no choice but to succeed. If not for me, I have to do it for him. I want to be the best role model that I possibly can. And it's more challenging when you're a woman raising a boy, especially here in Chicago with everything that's going on. So I just want to make sure that I succeed so that he could see me succeed and want that same thing for him.
Talk a little bit, if you could, about just intergenerational programming as you know it in terms of what you do in the sorority and what you expect to do. Because clearly joining a graduate chapter like Lambda Mu Omega, which is very active and involved in the community, is going to bring a lot of opportunities for you to serve and to be of service in our community.
I think that is very important. One of the things that I always talk about with people who ask me about my job and what I do as far as an intervention teacher, even just volunteering, because I volunteer after school as well, and just being there for the students, it's very important for them to know that somebody does care, that we do care about not just their academic growth, but their personal development as well. I listen to my babies talk all the time about what's going on, what they don't have, struggles that they face, and this is kindergarten through second grade, and it's tough, but just having me there and them knowing that somebody is there to reach out to them and help them after school, just provide an area for them outside of academics, is very important for them. So I think that service and giving back is very, very important because they need that outlet. They need to know that someone cares.
Soror Arielle, one of the things that impressed me is that you're a teacher, and specifically you're a literacy teacher. So talk to us a little bit about what that means and what it is that you do.
I'm an intervention teacher for literacy. Literacy is my focus for K through second at Parker Community Academy in the Equal community. And what we have a mission where we are leaving no child in the red. And what that simply means is in the red is below level. So we have students that are below the level that they need to be at for literacy and math. And we have a goal to make sure that each child isn't left below level, but we raise them to the goal that they need to be at. So what I do is I pull about 4 to 5 students in a small group. Sometimes I do a tier 1, which is individual group sessions for those who need more assistance. And we just cater to the personal academic needs of each student. And what I've learned is not only does it help them academically, but also the progress that they make personally is great as well. They use that time to not only gain from me academically, but they see that somebody actually cares about their academic growth and their personal development, and it's good for them. It's exciting to see them. I started this year, and I had students that was like, oh, why do I have to be here? Really? I'm tired. And now they're excited, like, Miss Thompson, where are you at? Why didn't you come get me today? Or I can't wait to see you. Can I stay with you? And that's exciting to see you positively affecting each student in a good way. That's exciting to see them motivated and eager to learn.
Well, certainly that's exciting for us because in Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, education is important. It's our number one priority, and certainly continues to be even today. That's our number one target, and having young, energetic teachers like yourselves in the classroom certainly gives us a lot of encouragement and certainly hope for the future. So we commend you on that. I do have one last question for you, and that question is, what does it mean to you to live fearlessly?
To live fearlessly is to not be afraid of taking risks, to understand what you want in life and not to be afraid to take the necessary steps to get there. And to understand that in order to succeed, you might have to fail, and that's how you learn, that's how you grow. You gain from that experience, and that aids in your success. So I would definitely say that living fearlessly is taking risk and not losing sight of the things that you truly desire in life.
Well, great. Well, Soror Arielle Ashley Thompson, thank you so much for joining us on Conversations. We look forward to not only having you active for a long time in the sorority, but certainly I look forward to personally seeing you here in my region, Central Region, as you continue your successful transition to a graduate chapter. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Conversations, where we've been joined by Soror Arielle Ashley Thompson. Thank you.